Senator, you have just come from Capitol Hill, just voting on this big gun control legislation. There seems to be a compromise between a bunch of Republicans and the Democrats. What happened?
Well, I just voted about an hour ago on the initial vote, the motion to proceed to take up the legislation. Now, the statutory text they rolled out just a couple of hours ago, so we're still in the process of studying the details of what they laid out. But all the Democrats voted for it, and 14 Republicans voted for it. So the vote was 64 to 34. They needed 60 to proceed, so they got there with 14 Republicans. And that's going to consume this week, the debate on that bill.
I think it is safe to say you are not one of the 14 Republicans who voted to proceed with this legislation.
That is safe, and actually I printed out the 14 who are. So if you want to know the 14 who are, it is Blunt, Burr, Capito, Cassidy, Collins, Cornyn, Ernst, Graham, McConnell, Murkowski, Portman, Romney, Tillis, and Young. Those were the 14 Republicans who voted yes.
Wish I could say that I were surprised, Senator, but I'm not. That obviously you've named a lot of the moderates and the people who often do go over with the Democrats here. But that's a big nut. 14 is a big number.
Well, it's a combination of the moderate to liberal Republicans combined with Republican leadership, combined with the Republicans who are retiring. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of the ace in the hole for leadership is the folks who are retiring are never going to face the voters again. They're likely going to go be lobbyists in town. And so suddenly they have all sorts of votes that the people who elected them would prefer they wouldn't take. But since they're not on the ballot anymore, they vote differently than they would otherwise. It's actually it's a similar manifestation. In the Senate, you've got 6-year terms, and it's a common phenomenon where 2 out of every 6 years, people grow a backbone and are conservative, and those happen to be the 2 years they're on the ballot. And then the other 4 years they're not on the ballot, they transmogrify into very, very different senators until the last 2 years when they're back on the ballot, when suddenly they become conservative again. And unfortunately, it's kind of a merry-go-round of who are the chunk of Republicans on the ballot that will stand steady. The retiring Republicans, it's an even worse problem because then they feel little to no accountability to the voters who sent them there.